Good afternoon. Hello. Hi. Sorry for the brief technical difficulties, but today it is my distinct honor to welcome Dr. Stuart Bartow, retired professor of English and award-winning poet and award-winning nonfiction writer, to the Writers Project. Born in Connecticut, Dr. Bartow has made his way around the world with a stint in Fiji, but Salem, New York has been his home for many years. Excuse me. He taught British Literature 1 and 2, as well as composition and public speaking and probably many other things. Huh? For more than 2 decades right here at SUNY Adirondack, helping students find their way through the likes of John Milton, William Shakespeare, and William Blake. He's the author of, I wrote 8, but I just found out 9. He's got another book out since August. 9 books and counting, plus 4 chapbooks. His books include, I'm going from the oldest to the youngest, Welk, Pygmy Forest Press, 2001. Reasons to Hate the Sky, Word Tech Editions, 2008. Questions for the Sphinx, Word Tech Editions, 2011. Teaching Trout to Talk, The Zen of Small Stream Fly Fishing from Rock Press in 2014. And that book received the Adirondack, Center for Writing Nonfiction Award. Einstein's Lawn from Dos Madres Press, 2015. Quaking Marsh, Haiku from Pond Frog Editions of Red Moon Press in 2018. Green Midnight from Dos Madres in 2018. That was a banner year. He has a bunch of those now. One Branch, Haiku from Red Moon Press, 2020. Invisible Dictionary, Haibun, which he can explain to you. It's prose related to haiku. Red Moon Press from 2022. And the new one called Full Moon Radio from Red Moon Press 2023. And those books are for sale. Before you leave, I hope you'll look at them and consider purchasing one. I have many terms of adulation from my colleague. I've called him Master of Metaphor, Master of Mythology, Master of Astronomy, Animal Lover Extraordinaire, Zen Master, and now Master of Haiku and Haibun. His advice to young poets given in an interview with Bung Kong Tuan, which also featured Barbara Unger, who will be here next month, includes this marvelous passage. And I'm sorry, Stu, I just have to read it. So students, your 2 most important attributes are imagination and empathy. Poetic genius lies in the depth of these 2. John Keats expressed the concept in his depiction of negative capability. Don't be afraid to be strange. Don't worry about literary recognition. It's a phantasm. Be ready and willing to acknowledge consciousness in any and all life forms, even in inanimate objects. Always remember this quote by R.H. Blythe, thank you. Moments of vision come when least expected, unbidden, and in most people, pass into oblivion, unnoticed and unremembered. Don't force anything. Be present, open. Be there when the poem happens. Poems then will come to you. Afterwards, don't eschew editing. Editing is where craft comes in. students, and can be as immersive and satisfying as making a first draft. Beyond everything I've just written, you are on your own, Stu says, a temporary wanderer and visitor here on this earthly plane. Embrace that fact. Be brave. Please join me in welcoming Stuart Bartow.
For that introduction, we should skip down and stop now. Can you hear me okay? All right, I don't want to lecture people on haiku, but I will a little bit. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding in the West about haiku. It's not about counting syllables. It's about capturing moments of vision. This syllable count is meaningless in English. I count syllables, actually, but I don't worry about whether they're 17. I'm just curious when I finish. How many syllables did that end up? Okay, so I'll read from my latest book, and if during the reading you have questions, just ask. Or we can wait to the very end and we can talk about haiku workshop and all that. How to write haiku, which I think I know how to do it. I want to thank Dr. McCoy for inviting me, and thank all of you for being here. So many friends and ex-students. It's really cool. So, summer night, the moon, the crickets, and something else calling. Forest, a dream, the screech owls whinny. Night wind singing in the language I knew before I was me. On the open book of poems, a lady beetle stargazes. You know how they just light on things? This is a true story. I was at a poetry haiku festival in New Hampshire. There's a catbird making a lot of noise up in the trees as this person's reading his haiku. How to listen to the poet or the catbird? When I know, excuse me, about 10 years ago, I had this little difficult dog. We used to go hiking up in Merck Forest. So when she died, I put her in my backpack, her body in my backpack, and I brought her to this forest glade. Glade is an opening in a forest. I don't think people use that word much anymore. I'm trying to keep it alive. And I left her there, and about a year later, I hiked back up to see what was left, and there wasn't anything there except flowers. Mountain meadow. Dog's grave vanished into devil's paintbrush. This is a true story. This is down the street from Barbara's house, my concept. Black magic. 100-year-old catalpa chainsawed for a poem. Yellow jacket's nest near the garden Buddha. Location. I'm glad you got that one. Swallows swirling the meadow. Everything I can't see. Crickets in the tall weeds. No one hears all day long. If you notice, if you throw crickets in your yard, if they haven't died yet, they're going in the daytime too. You just hear them in the night for some. Strawberry moon. No one's small enough to catch it. There's a marsh near my house, and the frogs are going all the time, in the spring and summer. One day it dawned on me, they sounded like a banjo band, Marsh frogs banjo band. Everyone out of tune. In the woods, a little truck beeping. You know that beeping sound when trucks back up? Sowets. Sowet Allison, just like. Face to face hovering dragonfly. Are you nobody too? little tribute to Emily. Oh, the title poem. Full moon radio, tree toads chirruping their one song. My concert, I think Barbara gave me that idea to use it for the title. I'd already written the poem. It was a summer night, and I think I was drinking, and I had the window open, and the full moon was coming in, and it felt like the toad music in the trees nearby were coming from the moon. Was coming from the moon. So I just full moon radio, tree toads chirruping their one song. Lightning bugs in the old graveyard, all there is. We have so many of those around here, if you notice. Great for Halloween. Once again, the language of the crickets, the poets know. Near where I live, around the corner, there's a large wetland marsh. And in June, the fireflies, the lightning bugs really fill up in there. There's zillions of them. It's magnificent. Cloudy night. The meadows shifting zodiacs of fireflies. A fritillary is a type of plain brown butterfly. Fritillary following wandering notes, not in my frequency. Zen, flies banging their heads on the open screen door. That's it. That's about all I know about it. The old cemetery of my childhood, Cricket Island. This is a wonderful old cemetery, a cemetery around the corner from my grandparents, where my brother lives now. It goes back to 1700s. And it just has a, what do they call it? You know, in Japan, they have Shinto, places where there are spirits. The Romans had it, you know, the Romantic poets had it, you know. Certain places that just seem to be infused with some kind of ghosts or magic or whatever. And that was a place for me. There's the whistle where I won't play. Skippers in the Timothy. Maybe I should explain this first. Timothy is a kind of a grass, and skippers is a kind of butterfly. Skippers in the Timothy, knowing them before their names. Dragonflies mating in the parking lot. How far away, Marsh? I'll read this one twice. This is my favorite one, I think. You know, like children, you have your favorites. Sudden forest of toadstools. Was it the moon or a star? You know, for hundreds of years, poets have been telling us everything in the universe is interrelated. Scientists found that out recently. So, did the stars or the moon make the mushrooms just pop up last night? You know? Maybe. Sudden forest of toadstools. Was it the moon or a star? Viri's song. In life, everything is timing. We're going to play Viri's song. Maybe it'll come up. I'll continue anyway. Viri's song. The feeling I knew before I knew her. I guess that's what it's. Bumblebees floating into blossoms and back, tethered to the sky. Does the moon inspire them too? Bullfrogs. The great granduncles of the tuba. Bullfrog marsh. Weaving dusk into night. Barn swallows. In and out of moonlight. How innocent the opossum's way. Do you like possums? I think possums eat a lot of ticks, you know. But not on neighbor, I would say. I've seen it so many times. Clouds restless Jupiter, Saturn. Sometimes I can say, get it. Open window. Waking to a song I never heard before. I try to identify bird music, but I'm not good at it. It's not like, now and then I know some. There's so many. It's confusing. Over, you working on the very? Here we go. Can you turn it up?
Oh, sorry, it won't work on the laptop.
Keep working.
I'll get it.
Keep working.
Oh, I get it.
I can't be anti-technology. Fine. That's all? Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Doug. Now, you're only going to hear this if you're in the woods or near the woods at dawn and at sunset. That's the only time you're going to hear it. So to me, it's magical. Yeah, I know. This is really organized, isn't it? Just like my teaching. Where is it? I will find it. I do have another very poem too, so if I don't find, this is what happens in my home. Stuff like vanishes. And then it reappears somewhere else. Okay, here we go. Veery's song, the feeling I knew before I fell. Yeah, you got to hear it to really get it. That's the problem with this stuff. Overturned stump, the secret life of bugs. This is a true thing, and it baffles me. When I was younger, I was a good baseball player, and this is what happened. Stealing home, recalling that day, except the call. I don't remember. Mountain marsh, bullfrogs raise the volume. This is why I stopped growing strawberries. Soaking dew, again the woodchuck beats me to the strawberry patch. Cold wine, summer night, moths migrating to the moon. If you ever go to the ocean and you don't see the ocean and there's like this rise, a bank, and then you get over the bank, and it's something enthralling about that, Just over the rise, sea grapes and infinity. Crickets and katydids, only the stars listening. Their whistling song, peepers in the pond inside me. Out far on the lake, guessing where the loons will surface next. This is another one where you kind of have to see the arrangement of a haiku, but that's okay. Praying mantises are very strange to me because they have sort of I don't know, what you call a prehensile head. Other insects can't move their heads. Whatever I am, the mantis turns her head to look at me. And I don't know why, they have like 6 or 8 eyes or something. It's unnecessary. You probably see, I don't know if you can identify them, but the most common butterfly around here is like those little cabbage whites, the little white butterflies. In the garden, cabbage whites instead of cabbages. Watching goldfinches eating bull thistle, the day almost wasted. Night breathing, the rhythm of the crickets were Oh, I have lots more time to torture
Hmm.
you. Better than a seashell, my ear pressed to the cat. I wrote this haiku to get one word, to use a word in a haiku because I like the word. It's called splooting. Is anyone familiar with that word? I never was either. I had to look it up when I ran across it. It's when yes, Neil. It's when cats like sprawl out. It's called splooting. August afternoon, cats on the porch splooting. Weeding. I'd come back inside wearing a snail. This kind of relates to I have family members who have difficulties, to say the least. Lightning bugs drifting to the bug zapper for overdose. Milkweed patch, all of it growing where I didn't plant. This is one of the. You can play that all you want. I don't care. Thank you for playing that. You know, we needed it. If you want to go feel soulful, walk out the house, if you live in a village or town, and go to the playground right before dawn. Playground before dawn. The wind swinging the swings is lonely. I live near the Salem Artworks, and they have this huge meadow there, and there's all kinds of moths and butterflies, and I'm kind of into entomology, and so I see the different types of moths and butterflies at different times over the summer when I hike up there. And there's a very tiny common butterfly called a common ringlet. Common ringlets in the meadow, up close, sunsets and planets. I only did this once. Spreading virus, a bluebird sings atop the bluebird house. Visiting Venus tonight, a hike away. Where the house once was, an apricot tree's white blossoms. Cygnus, Lyra, Leo, the fireflies can't decide. That's another one where, you know, they're sort of making lightning, but they're sort of making constellations. But just when one starts to look like Orion, it turns into something else, you know. Is it the imagination, or are they really doing it? Yeah, thank you. I think it's a good idea. And I read it wrong, I think. Cygnus, Lyra, Leo. The fireflies can't decide. Mating in midair. Blue ones, green ones, bronze ones. Darners don't care. Darning needles? No. I don't know. I know that's what we called them in New England. I think you all call them that here, right? Snail scaling a stalk. Is it for the view? Once upon a time, a nimbus of moths around a lantern. I used to go camping, but then it started to become unpleasant, if you know what I mean. Oh, here we go. I knew I had another one of these. Midsummer, a veery takes the forest's voice. Wearing curls, a spider's web spans the brook. Here's another one of those word poems that I came across that I just like, damn, that's a good word. I gotta put it in a haiku someday. swithering in the wind, bumblebees afloat above a thistle patch. Goldfinches soaring just about, I can do it again. Goldfinches soaring just above the meadow into me. In and out of moonlight, a possum's way. Summer night, her breathing and crickets. Out of tall grass, a flock of sparrows bursts into flower. That's a true story. I was coming up over a rise where I often hike. And all of a sudden, these sparrows came into the grass and it was like made a flower for a moment. So that's why I say haiku's not about concepts. It's about moments of vision. And you don't have to call it haiku. It's really weird when you go out early in the morning or late afternoon, especially this time of year, and there's deer all over the place and there's fog everywhere. What the deer turn into, morning fog. Sometimes, you know, when the wind is going through the trees, it sounds like it's trying to talk to you, you know. Whispering in dead languages, the wind through the trees. This is also a true story. I was in England visiting my daughter and son-in-law. Anyway, you know, there's all these little cobblestone streets and strange shops, and it's really lovely. And they call barn owls ghost owls over there. You know, those the white owls. Shop attached hit by a tree or something. They look close. I've seen barn owls before hiking, because I'd go out at night sometimes to see, and back in the day, to see meteor showers, you know, up in Merck Forest, you get up high, you know. And I saw barn owls, you know, because they're only out at night. But in England, they call them ghost owls. I like that name better. Before the landscape sprouted barns, ghost owls. You know, all these barns here. Windblown sky, the naked stars inside us. I'm not sure what that means, but it's true. Almost hearing them, barn swallows migrating across the moon. Oh, this is a true story too. You know, it's getting near Halloween, and I was at the Argyle Brewery 2 or 3 years ago getting a jug of beer, show it other people, of course. And they warned me, they said, you know, there's a bus tour going around all these brew pubs, and there's a whole busload of witches coming. And just as I got out, I hurried, you know, to get away. There they were. All these women dressed in witch costumes on the bus calling out the windows, stay, stay. Halloween, a busload of witches call out to me. And then, of course, Halloween, and I live in the village of Salem, so I got a lot of kids. It's really cool. All Hallows Eve, getting to meet a zombie prom queen. Waiting for the lyrics, a breeze gentle enough to make stars fall. Each night, new webs, orb weavers on the graveyard shift. They really do that. They make an investment, according to the books anyway. I haven't watched that happen. I think sometimes we torture ourselves or torment ourselves by thinking about things we could have or might have or should have done. And I'm not immune to that. Maybe I do it more than most of them. I don't think so. I hope not. Daydreaming a missed life. Just outside the window, crickets. One me looking at the hills, another wandering there. This really happened. Billing error. 3 robots and 2 humans to fix it. Through heavy fog, the scarecrow clarifies into scarecrow. Just the poles now. Where did you go, old scarecrow? Dusk gray through bare branches, the owl's bark gray too. Lighting on the open book, instead of reading, she washes her face. Fly. Spider's web catching stillness, autumn light. Lover's spat, Mars alone, visible tonight. Old dolls in her attic, posing in moonlight. Fog-bound meadow, other lives I could have led. This is another one of those ones, drays, D-R-E-Y. A dray is a squirrel nest. Only drays float above the fog. Only drays float above the fog. Night storm dreamt away. Hard frost last night. 2 crickets call to each other. Ursids. I think the ursids are in January. I have to look that up. I used to know that and I forgot. You know, the meteor showers are named after constellations. Ursids shower. How hushed their fall. Morning after snowstorm. The first sound, chickadees. Deer tracks in the snowy field without beginning. Have you ever noticed that? It's like they get abducted by aliens or dropped in by them or something. Snowstorm over, stars falling. Blue snow, what the moon and stars give us. This winter, you'll see it, it's blue if there's a full moon. In the truck's bed, snow rising to a comet's tail. St. Francis buried in snow, birdsong far away. Gray winter, juncos tinkling inside a cedar. Returning to the forest glade, only wind and chickadees. Let's see. How long are we supposed to go? Okay.
It's up to you.
No, I mean, when
We have the room until 1:50.
1:50? Oh, report. Distant light, star, moon, winter kitchen. Sometimes, when there's no see lights distance. It looks warm, even when it's cold out. Carpenter ants nest inside the apple tree. Sweet winter. Some of you will probably have already experienced this, and some of you will probably experience this. In the photo, I look old. The moon obscured by clouds. Most of you have already experienced this. Cat at the door. Out or in or out. The wind comes in. This morning, star maps on my windows. Clouds letting go of the stars, what we really are. I think this one might need a little explaining because you can see it visually, what's going on, but just to read it, I think maybe needs a little explaining. Ovid, the great Roman poet during the Caesar's era, wrote the Metamorphosis, which is all about Greek myths, which are all about people changing into other things. And of course, we know moths go through, I think it's a complete metamorphosis. I don't think it's an I think it's a complete one. Egg, larva, pupa, adult, something like that. So inside my book of the Metamorphosis, inside Ovid's Metamorphosis, a tiny moth. As though the old tree had just given birth. Screech owl. Lasting the winter, a house wren claims the Oriole's nest. Did I dream of rain? Robin song. We both made it through another winter. First, cabbage white. In dew-drenched grass, cupped hands, starlight briefly. Two deer bounding across a field, if not love. Almost a song starting in the woods. Rain. White morning, as though the chickadees were all just born. Lidless mailbox. House wrens move in. They'll nest in all kinds of strange places. There's a place Barbara and I go to in New Hampshire late summer, at least used to, where they have a haiku event. And on the way, there's a turtle crossing sign, you know. It's the only one I've ever seen, you know. Turtle crossing between the marsh and the woods. Deep space. Inside the seed packet, stars on board. Kissing ghosts, spring again. Good enough for my epitaph, lichen and moss. Vanishing into mizzle, where the geese take me. I read the whole thing. Supposed to go in, but I got accepted in this haiku journal, and the book came out before the journal and publishing ethics. You know what an ethical guy I am. So I didn't include it, but you know the old question, if a tree falls in the forest, no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? Which is a ridiculous, it's kind of a Zen cone in it, and it's a stupid question, actually. So my haiku was, dead fall in the forest. The stars and ants heard it. Right? You know. So that was supposed to go in, but oh well. And most of you know I got a rather difficult medical diagnosis. And whatever. Oh yeah, I'm bringing it up because I said, well, I am not going to write any cancer poems. But so the first time I got struck, it was like 4 in the morning, it was full moon. I drove my truck to the hospital. And, you know, I'm in Salem, so I'm going up over the hills and down the valleys, and I'm sort of hallucinating. And it felt like I was going to the underworld, you know? So, journey to the underworld. Even the doors are automatic. This happened a few weeks ago, I think. Nurses in the chemo ward discuss killing spiders. Now, you know, if that was a one-line poem and I read it like, nurses in the chemo ward discuss killing spiders, but you break it, you put it in 3 lines. Now, some of mine are 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, but you know, sometimes it just really matters. You know? Okay. Dr. McCoy had kind of wanted me to do a workshop, but The thing is, if I did a real workshop, and please excuse me, I have to do this now. I'd send you all outside with a notepad and a pencil and go out in the woods out there and come back in an hour and don't worry about writing haiku, just write a short poem and let's see what you got. And don't bring your tablet or anything. See what happens. You know? And that's why I say it's not about counting syllables, it's about capturing fleeting moments of vision that somehow seem important because they are, I guess. So we don't worry about the syllables. I think now that I've accidentally written a 17575, but it was certainly by accident. So I figure you'll have volumes of questions. Yes, Neil.
Well, most, if not all of the haiku you read today was about nature.
That's haiku, yeah.
So is that part of haiku? Like I understood haiku as always referencing a season.
Yeah,
But then you wrote it.
they all do. Most of them do. If you really think about it. So if I say the lyrids, obviously, isn't that November? You know.
So, but you don't write indoor haiku or
Sure I
is
do.
that the thing or what?
Sure I do. Billing error. 3 robots and 2 humans. Yeah.
So you're-
Sometimes I'm indoors and outdoors, Neil. You know, we're by an open window, full moon radio, you know. So that's taking place both in and out. You can be inside. You can make up stuff. Nobody will know. Make believe you went for, did one of the high peaks, but you didn't. I do stuff like that all the time. Well, I used to. Thanks for bringing that up, Neil. Yeah, it's not like a rule thing. And you can be subtle about it. Sneaky. So, yes, Dr. McCoy. Kathy. Yes, Dr. Kathy. Oh, sure. You can do either or either. People do either one or the other. Mine generally. But when I did my Haibun book, Invisible Dictionary, the first Haibun has the haiku first, and then the Haibun. The Haibun is the prose passage about the sort of related to the haiku. But then all the rest of them, the remaining 50 something, were all prose and then a haiku. So what you do is you write a prose passage about whatever you want. It could be fiction or nonfiction or whatever. And then write a haiku related in a subtle way, not too directly. Also, frankly, I think a lot of haibun writers make a big deal about the title. I don't know why. I think they make too big of a deal about it. And so the title is also indirectly about the haibun and the haiku, but it's, you want me to read a haibun?
Yeah.
No, you don't. Well, I'll have to get my haibun book, so hang on. It's only take me a minute. Oh. I'll read a short one, don't worry. Let's play the very. Read a very short. This isn't in there. I'll find a short one. Find something. In the meantime, other questions while I'm looking, I can kind of. Yeah, Stephanie. I started writing haiku when I was in my early 20s, but I never took it seriously. I just kind of liked the exercise of it. And my consort Barbara who's a really good haiku poet, was asked to judge a haiku awards. I don't know, like 15 years ago or something. And it really inspired me to really bear down and really write it. And I realized that I was always having these haiku moments, but ignoring them. Or not ignoring them, writing them into lyric poems, but having the lyric poem fail and not finish the poem. Whereas I found if I write a haiku, it works. It didn't, I finished it and it didn't fail, you know? No, that's really true. Okay, this one. This is called Why We Are Here. That's always a big question. Ask yourself that. You could ask, well, why shouldn't I be here? But anyway, why we are here. In my early 20s, I was tormented by what now seems a question of semantics. The purpose of life. The way I'd answer that question now would be a visit to the near marsh on a June night to see the countless lightning bugs where, even if I were blind, I could feel the pulsation. Drifting green stars, their light, their language. That's a haiku. So, let's see, maybe I'll do one more. I think this one really applies to my condition now. Janine Pommy Vega was here a few years back. She was magnificent. I heard Janine Pommy Vega read from her book, The Green Piano. In old age, she was still beautiful. She read a poem about giving away her hiking boots that she couldn't use any longer. Some years have passed, and I think that could happen to me. I have a walking stick I made from an oak branch. It might help me get back to the backyard garden and berry bushes. It's also a shillelagh that I can use to beat off the ghosts. Cold April night. Peepers still singing faintly. Whew, I think that's about it. Thanks so much. What a joy.
Ditto.
Thank you so much, Stu. It's a privilege to have you here. And again, sorry for the frou-frou at the beginning, but we started only 2 minutes late. It was a miracle. And now the room is full. It's wonderful. Well, so in lieu of the traditional workshop, we have mini notebooks with pens on the snack table just outside the art gallery, so that you will take Stu up on his invitation to wander around the grounds or today or tomorrow and write a haiku or two.
I'll come back and see what you did.
Okay. My students are going to be writing some haiku, so
Okay.
we'll send you some.
Yeah, we'll do it. Right.
Good. Okay. We're doing that, folks. We're doing it. Thank you to President Duffy for coming. Thank you to our visitors from all over. It's good to see you, Barbara. Thank you, faculty and students and community. A couple quick announcements. Thank you to the Faculty Student Association. Thank you to our intrepid intern, Eric Delvaux. Thank you to Rebecca Pelcher for helping always, to our IT staff. And I wanted to let you know that we have 3 more readers this semester. Next week at this time, we have Lanny Stabile or Leanne Stabile from Michigan is going to be coming in via the magic of Zoom. Please, God, let it work. And and her book is very Halloween appropriate. That's the 30th. And then on the 27th of next month, we have Barbara Unger, who's here in the front row to present her poetry. A big honor for that. And then on December 4th or 5th, the first Monday in December, we have Walter McLaughlin, who is a Vermont editor and poet and nature writer, and to talk to us about editing and writing about the beautiful nature we have here. Thank you so much, and get some snacks and books.
How are you? I'm doing.